Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results.
So stressful when the world's on fire. Good God. I can't look at this, guys. Like, my strategy is you buy it and you hope that you got a good spot. Yeah, but we all think you're crazy. You don't fight this. No way. The markets are freaking out and you don't think that anything is wrong? Come back tomorrow and I'll lose it all. Should be fun. Good morning, everybody. It is the 17th. Interesting day yesterday. Quite a bit of a battle. Some fake news. Man. We'll come over to the charts right away. Want to get into this quickly. Okay, so yesterday, quite a bit of an inside day. At the end of the day, we had some rumors that Texas was going to go back into lockdown. Those rumors were then denied later in the overnight session. But here, we had a big push down, and then as soon as those guys were all out, a huge move up and over the regular session highs. Now here in the regular session, kind of sideways, even a little bit down at times, but then finally a huge pop up. Treasuries not giving up their gains though. Treasuries still pretty high and just holding their bids. So not sure what the deal is with that. Oil hasn't really moved either. In fact, oil a little bit below yesterday's levels. Gold had a bit of a washout yesterday, but is recovering, and they're back above 1,800 now. Kind of a little bit sideways though. Then when we come over here to our currencies, you can see yesterday the euro kind of slumped a little bit, and now they've recovered that back out as well. And the dollar's right at 96. Now, what's this? This is not something I thought could happen. So it looks like, we haven't seen a move with it like that yet. So it's interesting to see what it's doing here. My, oh my. I'd be interested if Uzis did the same thing. What Uzi will think about that one. Well, we got to go and make some changes here today. I might just spend a little bit of time programming. Let's see here. So in terms of, by the way, Bitcoin doing another little bit of an up. That's cool, I guess. Okay, we get building permits, housing starts at the bottom of the hour news. And then at 10 o'clock, we got consumer sentiment, which I think will be a fairly important number. I do see a little bit of tepidness ahead of that. I think that that's part of why we've been getting the action that we're getting. I'm wondering, though, with that move in the E-mini, if we're not going to get... I wonder if the treasuries are going to finally give it up. But what was the cause of that? There must have been some... when did it start? It started at 5:55. So about 30 minutes ago. U.S. shatters record single-day spike in cases. CNBC. Nope. Tokyo 2020 announces scheduling for Olympic Games next year. I don't see it. Let's check CNBC. Maybe there was some earnings. No. At least nothing obvious on the CNBC front page. Let's check this earnings calendar. What do we got today? There was BlackRock. Well, that was way before all of that. Citizens Financial Group, maybe? Mm-mm-mm. No, Region, Ally, Althoff, First Horizon. Is there anybody after Acme United Corporation? That's it. Yeah, no, okay, weird. So I'm not quite sure what drove that. This is a pretty strong move up, though. It might have just been somebody puking. So when I look at like where it goes and everything else like that, that is somebody. That is a seller very upset. Well, I don't know. We'll see how it turns out.
Leandro Matias says good morning.
Good morning. For you guys. Netflix is down 8%. Ew. You really kind of have to wonder how Netflix can be like basically the center of culture in the United States right now and have trouble making money, you know? Well, all right. Well, we're about to get the numbers here. It really itches for some reason. Data on remote work from Adam Grant, retweeted by Mohammed El Rain. Workdays are 10 to 20% longer. The best predictor of adaptation isn't introversion, but being agreeable and emotionally stable. Communication went up 40% with strong ties, but down 10% with weak ties. Ah, that makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. I'm going to need to think about this and see if I can use that to change how I interact with my own coworkers at work. Hmm. Okay, so building permits, housing starts 1.86 million higher than expected. Um, permits 1.241. Hmm. So the numbers seem a little bit mixed here, and the market doesn't seem to be reacting to it. Market doesn't seem to be reacting to it. See, it's the interesting thing is that the book in the 10-year looks very much like it did yesterday. Well, we could slip back. This 15 half 16 area. They don't have big orders until 14. There's a big order at 18. There's a couple of things I still need to write to figure things out. BlackRock earnings? I don't know. I mean, I was up before. When I was up, BlackRock earnings were already out. I don't think that that's it. BlackRock earnings were at 618. I'm pretty sure all this is. Oh, but there was.
Uzi Knesset says ZB flushed right into the buyer's cost basis and bounced right off it. Should have gone long their tongue out.
Yeah, no, it totally did, Uzi. You're right. That was like way a long time ago, though. Oh well, there was the one when it was at 16. All right, I don't know where it was in CP. I'm not really looking at it.
Uzi Knesset says I mean like 3 minutes ago lol.
Now, have you looked at it in the E-mini today? I'm interested to know what you think about it in the E-mini.
Uzi Knesset says flushed right into it big volume and popped right off it.
So I'll show you in this screen. So I made a little change to my chart so that I'm using a multi-session template. That way the thing will reset when the E-mini starts, which I found to be useful yesterday. But here in the E-mini, look what it did. They moved up, they came back to the buyer's cost basis and bounced right off of it higher. But when they did, the cost bases for both of these guys went way down. That's not just an aberration in my. It's weird, right? We haven't seen a move like that really since we've been watching it, though, so I guess it makes sense.
Uzi Knesset says that is a little weird.
Yeah, it was a little weird. I think it makes. Well, no, actually, it doesn't. Well, what it means is that all of their contracts that they took, up in here that moved their cost basis up were canceled out. And so now their cost basis is the contracts that they had all the way back from here. But what I don't understand is why the sellers is the same thing. Because the sellers stopped out or something? I don't know. It might be. So Seth, are you currently bearish? I don't know. I don't know. It looks to me like we should be able to move up. Like,
Uzi Knesset says could be sellers puking on the up move maybe.
oh yeah. Well, I mean, just the fact that we bounce off of
Sunday
the buyer's
Driver
cost
says
basis
housing
and moved
starts
up
better
like
than
that.
expected.
Yeah, well, housing starts
Uzi
were better
Knesset
than
says getting
expected.
rid of some higher priced inventory.
Yeah. Housing starts were better than expected, but building permits were not. And the amount that they were different, I mean, 1.186 versus 1.169 is such a tiny amount. So that news didn't seem to affect the market at all. But it's just so weird to me that the treasuries remain elevated. So I don't think that we have auctions today. Don't see anything on the schedule. Are they elevated because they're concerned about the Michigan consumer sentiment? It's odd, don't you
Sunday
think?
Driver says weren't the markets heading lower on Netflix guidance? When that news came out, they bounced.
It's true. Last night they were. It looks to me, so somebody was saying, I was like, I don't know what's the move for, but there's somebody in Discord that was saying that they thought it was BlackRock. This move started around 7:15, and BlackRock, their earnings were like 6:18. I don't know. It seems like that the market would have moved before that.
Sunday Driver says I bought the Scarlet 4i4. Stoked.
Oh, you got the 4i4. Why did you get the 4i4 and not like the 2i2? You're gonna have you can do like a podcast with like four of us. That's interesting. I've been really happy with my Scarlet though. I've had some friends and complain about driver issues with them, but I haven't had any problems. And the thing that's really nice about them is that they are so fast. Like I can do like audio effects on it and then send it back out and
Sunday Driver says lol.
not tell
I
the
was going
latency.
to get the 2i2, but couldn't find one in stock at a good price. The ones available were being sold for almost the same
Really?
price as the 4i4. So, I traded up.
Really? That's so interesting. Well, so I'll tell you what. You're gonna hate me. I got mine for $30, and it included a microphone and headphones. Mm,
Sunday Driver says the 4i4 does have loop back.
yeah. So these have like a little switch so that when I'm talking, I hear it back up through my headphones. But the thing that the Scarlett does that's unique is that I can
Sunday
actually
Driver
go.
says lol. That's a good deal. You could sell
Yeah.
them now for 3 times that, at least. Take it to
Oh yeah,
eBay.
totally. Oh totally. In fact, I wonder. I should go on eBay and see what they're selling for. Anyways, but the Scarlett, you can go and you can like turn that loop back off, process it with like reverb and a bunch of other stuff, send it back to the headphones, and you won't really be able to tell the delay. There's maybe like 10 milliseconds. Pretty good. I tell you what though, when you start getting into, because you always think like, okay, like when we're talking about trading, let's try and bring it back to trading. When you're talking about trading and you think, okay, like the latency between you and the server is maybe 100 milliseconds or maybe 50 milliseconds, and like your reaction is like 300 milliseconds, and like how long actually is that? And when you see that time, it doesn't really significant. But your ears are really good at telling how much time is, and a 10 millisecond delay is about where you can start to tell.
Sunday Driver says I almost went with something
Crazy,
else,
right?
but the Scarlett has such a good reputation.
Yeah, it does. They're good. I mean, there's a lot of audio interfaces. There's a few that are like really crap, but it's another one of those things where it's like if you're primarily using it
Sunday
for
Driver says that latency is
internet
the genesis of
communication,
high-frequency trading. Just to get it back to trading. Ha 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 lol.
right? Totally. Well, then you get into like the 50 milliseconds difference matters. But I'm starting to wonder now. Now that we've gotten into this inventory stuff, okay? So the contention is, or the theory is this, that orders that don't pull are the ones that really, really want to be in line. So if you can look at the market from a market by order perspective, you should be able to identify the orders that have and how long they've been there for to get an idea of how badly the people there actually want to be filled. So it seems to me that there actually is a measurable edge that you could derive from market by order data. And given what we've been doing with inventory, if we were to look at inventory and say that we will match stop orders too, right? Like using the cost basis, we're just using limit orders. But if we also match it on stop orders too, yeah, you know what I mean? I think there's a lot of things that we could do with it. So I'm starting to come around to the idea that it really is necessary. So then I got to think, okay, well, yeah, but wouldn't it slow the DOM down and everything? But I'm thinking no, because you can have two parameters, right? Like you can have one parameter that is the total size, and just when you get a new order in, you just increase the size or decrease the size or whatever. And then you have another one that adds it into this queue. And you've just got to have like really good um, processing so that the display isn't waiting for you to put it in the queue to update the change in the display. So I think that Jigsaw could do it without decreasing the performance of the DOM. It would require a lot more memory, but I mean, come on. What are we pushing in memory? Not even 500 megabytes. Like if Jigsaw took 2000 megabytes, I would be perfectly okay with that. Maybe some people wouldn't, but I actually use 55% of my memory.
Uzi Knesset says Jigsaw could work in it. It'd be ready by the time all of us died of old age lol.
No, I actually think that it would be faster than you'd think. It's probably like the actual coding part of it. It's probably a week's worth of work for them. The testing and verification and all of that stuff would take a lot longer though. 'Cause it's a high risk change. So can I show you something else? That I've been looking. Yesterday I said, well, okay, let's look
Uzi
at it on a
Knesset says
30
you
minute
apparently
basis.
work faster than Jigsaw's team lol.
Well, I don't think I do. I I feel really confident about my programming ability, at least in respect to creating retail trading software. But I'm not super special. I'm just a guy with a computer science degree. I don't know who does all of the work for Jigsaw, but you got to remember that they are writing like a full-on chart. That's a lot of work. That's a lot of work. And who knows, maybe they're even allowing programming.
Uzi Knesset says I've been paying Jigsaw $50 a month for their live trading subscription for like 2 years now. I can laugh at how slow their dev team is lol.
Well, I do want to see charts, and I'm starting to wonder because they were saying that they would start testing in July, right? Like I'm sitting here like, should be imminent, right? But I would totally understand if there were delays. But it also kind of makes me excited, like, I'm gonna bet you that it's not just charting. Like, are they gonna do stuff like that you can have a moving average on your chart and that it will export the level into the alert column of your DOM directly? That would be so cool. I would find that so very helpful. Well, I'm kind of tempted. I don't know if I really want to trade right now. Because
Uzi Knesset says, NT8 Super DOM does that.
yeah, it does. It can, and it's cool, right? Well, it doesn't export it from the chart. You have to write it for the DOM itself, but still, it's cool. Now, I know I'm getting into. There's a lot of things in Jigsaw that I would like to see. Like, there's the stacking and pulling column and all that. But what I would really like to know is because all of that is based off of like a certain point, like since it upticked, for instance. But what I would really like to know is like what is the lowest what is the lowest and the highest that of liquidity that you've had there since you've been looking at it, and maybe you could like reset it at a certain point. You know, this thing moved so far. I wonder if it's going to come all the way back in the E-mini. But to me, that's like 4 points. I don't know if that's really worth trading when you're kind of like in the middle. So I think I'm going to come here off screen and I'm going to try and fix up my indicator because I've been making a more efficient version of it. And I got the one side working last night. Had some bugs in it, but I got the one side working and I didn't get to go into the second side. And not so I would like to do that. I want to finish what I started. Also,
Uzi
how I
Knesset says, I
calculate
believe I saw
cost
something
basis.
like that coded for NinjaTrader, just not by individual level but by total levels. It drew net liquidity as candles. Uzi
On a
Knesset
zero
says
line.
on a zero line.
Well, that's what this is right here, right? This is net. This is the maximum. This one is the maximum, and this one is the minimum. But it is the cumulative maximum and cumulative minimum. What I need to do on this one is I think I'm going to take it back so that each level tracks their maximum and minimum, and then add the sum of all of the minimums and the sum of all of the maximums, and see if that is any different. Uh, Theoretically, well, not theoretically, but I suspect that it won't show much of a difference, but you never know. And I think that theoretically speaking, that should be a more effective way of looking at it, because what we want to see is how badly they want to stay in the queue, essentially, right? That's what we're looking for. And like I said, if I could do it from market by order data, I think that I would track in how long the orders have been there for, and create some metric that says there's X amount of like time, uh, the metric would be like cumulative time. So it's like the order has been there. There's this many orders and this. No. It would be the sum of the time of the orders that have been there divided by the number of orders to give you an average that is how badly they want to be filled or how long they've been waiting. And you'd be able to see that for every price and look at that instead of just the total number of orders that have been there. I didn't describe that very well. I want to for every limit order that's been on the DOM, look at the time and times that by the number of orders in that, the number of lots in that order, and add all of that together and divide by the total number of lots to give you a time weighted average, and display that in place of the number of orders right here. So that when you get a big old stack at 18, for instance, but most of the orders just barely got put there, it will discount it for you, essentially. Whereas if there's been a bunch of orders and they've been there all day, it will read that as more significant.
Uzi Knesset says big brain shit bro lol.
I know, right? The fun thing is that I feel like I'm getting into things that not a lot of people in the retail space have really considered, but
Sunday Driver says any thoughts on going long on companies that will benefit from the surge of new podcasters? Everything is sold out, they are selling all they can make, but no news.
yeah, that's a good question, because I can't think of the very many of those companies that actually have stock. Like, is Shure a public company? Company profile. I bet you that it's a private company. And I bet you most of these are private companies. Private company. Oh, no. Where it doesn't say. Yeah, the Bloomberg profile isn't very good. Nah, it's not really telling me. I can't really think of anyone. And who owns Elgato? Corsair. That's right. Owner Eagle Tree Capital 50%. Which is probably a private equity firm.
Kenny Desmet says hello, slightly smiling face.
Hey, Kenny, how you been? Cohesive team profile companies. Investor login. They're a private equity firm. So if you could get in, that would be the way to do it. That would probably be the best one, I think. But I think the problem that you're going to find is that uh, there's not really going to be a company that is just that, right? There might be some companies that make some products or own somebody that has a section of that, but not one where it's just that. And so it's going to be difficult for that to be a significant amount of their earnings for it, to matter. I think would be the problem there. I'm gonna get rid of this calculate min max thing. So I'm gonna write this here off screen because it's super secret. Dum, dum.
Sunday Driver says Tune GB is the symbol on London. Stock has pretty much doubled.
What is that?
Sunday Driver says makers of Scarlet.
Oh, Focusrite. Well, and see, that's where I'm surprised that they have a stock that is just them. Well, there you go. I bet there's probably some other ones. Well, let's see here. So if we come into now, let's go to Yahoo Finance. Finance.yahoo.com. Focusrite PLC. I think that's it. So then I want to see also watch. Not useful. Okay. Financial Juice will show me. Oh, I don't know if that one was. Maybe that was because of Conway. So Conway is saying that the White House will release guidance on schools reopening this week or early next week. That is, well, it's Friday though. Whatever. Oh, you know what? I want to make this interval width like way bigger. Maybe 30. Maybe even 60. Sure. Okay. Yeah, I'm not gonna mess with. I'm not gonna mess with that one. Okay. So then we're gonna flip everything around here.
Uzi Knesset says in ZB today looks a lot like yesterday in terms of movement above and below the VWAP.
Yeah, it looks a lot because it's bounced off of it, right? I mean, that was like my first thought when I came in today. It was like, oh, it's the same thing. So I want to wait. I don't think I want to go long here. I think I want to wait.
Kenny Desmet says I really am getting the hang of it and I am so excited. Kenny Desmet says I saw something about Aston Martin remaking the James Bond car and that's why I bought a few shares and today it went up 12%.
Oh, nice. Wait, what was the name of the ticker for that one? Oh, Aston Martin. Aston Martin is a stock too. Ooh. Interesting. Actually, I bet most even those exotic car makers have, because doesn't Ferrari and Lamborghini like have stocks? One of those two has a stock. Pretty sure. Pretty sure. Okay. So I'm gonna need to open up a new chart here to test with. I'll use the ZB 5
Sunday
minute.
Driver says Aston also makes microphones. Good ones. I'm sure they're selling well.
Really? Oh, that's interesting. And it looks like the E-mini's turning back up again. Okay, so this one, I'm going to add my inventory cost basis to it. And I'm going to make it cumulative. So already I see a problem. Not, there we go. Now I need to compare that to the old version of the indicator that we are considering correct. I don't know if that's actually if that actually is correct. Something looks a little messed up about it, doesn't it? Inventory 2 cumulative. Okay. Oh, nope. There are the same. Actually, there's a little slight difference there. What's with this?
Uzi Knesset says yo if you make changes to it you can't leaving me hanging with broken shit lol. I'm actually using it haha.
I know, right? I'll send it over. I don't know if it's. I can't explain that. I might be able to explain that.
Gary Rich says if you can't explain it, how to use it, find a trade, in 2 minutes or less. Dump and drop IT.
Oh yeah. Okay, so here's how you trade it, Gary. If it's a range bound day and it comes down to the seller's cost basis, you buy it. You could also do it when it comes to the buyer's cost basis, but if you can get it down to here, that would be even better. But no, what I was saying is that my old version and my new version look slightly different, and I can't explain why. The buy one looks identical. The buy ones are identical. So there's got to be a bug in my sell code. Clear all that. Sort the keys. I know what's wrong. Let me just double check there's not anything else. That might be it. Let's see if it is. No, it's still different. Hmm. I'm gonna open up another window here. Ba-dum-ba-dum. What? I can't have it open twice? That is retarded. That is so retarded. Oh my gosh.
Gary Rich says well let's see you use it.
Well, I used it yesterday and it actually worked out for me.
Uzi Knesset says I used it yesterday.
Yeah, Newsy took a live trade with it yesterday, actually. It's strangely enough, the way that he used it and the way that I used it were like complete opposites. But I think I like his trade better just because his trade was like I think the way you should use it as a scalper.
Uzi
Right?
Knesset says I took a live trade I got out of way too early LMAO.
Yeah. Whereas the way that I was using it was kind of like the long-term market maker. And you know what? Like the way that it worked out was I ended up keeping it until the options pit closed. But when I got out of it, I was positive. And if I had waited until longer, could have done even better. If I had waited until the E-mini close. Anyways, and there was
Uzi
plenty of
Knesset says
opportunities
you
where I
held it
could have
until
gotten
the
more.
sellers got their chance at the end of the day, right?
Right? Yeah, exactly. Because I got out at like
Uzi Knesset says that's what seems to
16
happen
or
historically.
something.
Gary Rich
Yep.
says, okay, TikTards. Keep adding more crap to y'all screens.
I think it's funny that Gary is dissing it. I don't think he even knows what we're talking about. Let's see. I'm going to have to open it up in Visual Studio. So.
Uzi Knesset says, holy shit, 2 lines on a naked chart. I think my eyes are gonna melt.
Right. Okay.
Uzi Knesset says you drew a trend line, fucking noob.
Bum, 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 ba-dum.
Uzi Knesset says tongue out, love you at Gary Rich.
Uh, that all looks correct. I could have an error in my old short code. Let's look if the bug is over here. Well, that's one thing that could be different about it. The thing is that the difference between the two of them isn't that significant, and I actually think that this one is probably more correct, but I could be wrong. One of the things that bothers me about it is that this one is kind of smooth and this one is kind of jaggedy. And why is that? Also, there's this spot right here. Nah, the difference there is significant. Ah, okay, so that's something that might be doing it, or that I might screw up. So let's see if I can find anywhere. Looks like no. Looks like that is not the case, but
Uzi Knesset says I'll concede to at Gary Rich though that 0 line thing I programmed is kind of a mess, but I find it helpful as hell lol.
oh yeah, the thing that he's got. I when I was looking at that, I was kind of like, how do you use this? rid of this bit of code because I'm pretty sure that I don't need it anymore. I'm not using it in either of these.
Uzi Knesset says just for gauging expected volatility of a given baht, that's all lol.
This is really hard to debug because I would have to step through both of them step by step, and I can't do that at the same time. You know what I mean? The thing is that the logic that we're using is fairly complicated. Well, that didn't change anything either.
Kenny Desmet says Seth, you said something I should look up to learn about earnings reports, but I didn't catch what you said.
You should read the book One Up on Wall Street. Okay.
Kenny Desmet says got it, thank you.
Could be up on here that the changes that the problem is, but why would that? It must be this. So there's this case where not a lot of volume has gone through and like only one price is traded. So you can see that when it's going up, well, that was a spot where it was moving though. Right? So really cannot explain that. And the thing that I think is so weird is that my bid one is right and my offer one is wrong. My ask one. I should use ask because it seems to me like people prefer to use the word ask than they do offer. And the problem that I have is that I don't really know that this original one is really truly correct. So I'm trying to find which one has the bug. But there's a couple of things about this one that are different that could mean the difference. I'm just confused as to why it would only show up in the ask. Like I go through it, the logic every time, and I'm like, no, that's all correct. That's all correct. But you are going to get some things where there's zeros in there, and that could change it. And it may only show up in the offer because of the direction that they're moving. So what would happen if this was 0? Here. Hmm. This is really perplexing me. The problem is there are a few fundamental changes between them. Like even the data is different. Like the underlying data structure is a little bit different. So I can't tell. Oh, by the way, the treasury came down there, but they came down too far. Hmm. That didn't change things for them though. Well, I'm not 100% sure what's gonna happen. So that would be a great buy if you were bearish, but I don't think that we should take it. Well, let's try it in the 10-year. Is it any different? And it's a little bit different in the 10-year as well. In the end, they give the same value. It really must just be this thing. So there's this one case where you can get a situation where like only one bit has been touched, which actually it does look like that has been the case. And you'll only get one data point. And then if you try going through the algorithm, it gets screwed up. But that one's probably not ever happening. Yeah, that case like probably never happens anymore. And so it tries to factor it in. Well, I'm going to look through this one more time. Quite a bit of clicking around before the open there. Well, there's one last thing that I would need to check, but I would have to like debug to do that, and that would stop our data. So I don't think I want to do that. Hmm. CNN Anna Cabrera tweets Miami-Dade ICU capacity is over 100% according to the mayor's office. No, we'll tweet Anna Cabrera. And the mini is selling off here. Interesting. So when I look at the ZB and the ZF in particular, the offer is getting stronger. So they don't seem too concerned about the E-mini selling. Of course, the E-mini would have to sell a lot more than it has right now to really get anybody to really be like, crap. You know what I mean? Hmm. Okay, so there's this order at 14. I'm going to close these. Okay, so far, quite a bit of distribution at 3214, which is a little bit unusual. Um, I guess it's not as an incredible amount, but they're usually not going to distribute that early. They're going to be, there's going to be swing both ways on the open. And, an attempt to get above the open and run up there and try the high and either make it or not. Bulls trying to make a stand in the dollar. Says James Stanley. Already got a wildfire in Utah, huh? Hmm. Okay, now first Squawk is squeating. What the heck? Tweeting about the Miami-Dade ICU. So here's the thing is I don't, when it was Houston, I was like, well, I could understand that Houston doesn't have a whole lot of hospitals, but Miami, am I wrong? Uzi, isn't that like incredibly, isn't that kind of crazy that they've filled the ICU capacity in Miami-Dade County? That I think is concerning. Now, is Florida over on the way down? I don't know. It's a little certainly enough to give
Uzi Knesset says I guess
caution.
lol.
You guess. I mean, there's the hospitals over there. They have good hospitals there. Do they have a lot of them? Like I think here in Utah, okay, like everything
Uzi Knesset
is.
says I don't know, around me shit's pretty normal.
Shit's pretty normal. Everything here in Utah, it's United Healthcare. And they have this medical facility that they built out in Murray that we call the Death Star because it is just this enormous. It's like a 13-story building, and it is huge. And it's nice. I
Uzi
mean, it's a
Knesset says we
nice.
do have a lot of them. There's like 5 near me alone.
Yeah. So here in Utah, if there's a pandemic and they turned that whole hospital into a let's treat coronavirus victims, I think that Utah would be able to handle it. But then I think about Houston and I'm like, well, yeah, but the hospitals in Houston aren't so great. Not that I've lived there, but I've been there and I've seen the city and everything. So I don't know. But then I think Miami, that's a pretty big city. It's fairly new. Not fairly new. I mean, it's fairly well developed. I don't know. I did not expect to see them say that anywhere in Florida had reached capacity, right? Well, the E-mini is being very, very, how should we put it? They're going back and forth, but it does look like the sellers have a pretty significant edge at the moment.
Sunday Driver says the Wu flu is going to get really bad over the summer. Though, according to Chris Martinson, long-term immunity looks promising. T cells retain memory of the virus, it seems.
Right. Right. Well, so did you see one of the headlines that I saw was that in the UK they did a study, and in the UK they determined that they are already or almost to herd immunity in the UK because a lot of people are already immune to it, even though they haven't had it, which is interesting. The sellers are winning right now, though, in the E-mini.
Sunday Driver says they are finding that previous coronavirus illnesses might provide immunity.
Yeah, exactly. So for a while, people were getting concerned because there was like, well, will a vaccine even work? Because it sounds like that you don't retain the antibodies and things like that. But now it's starting to turn out that I think that we just don't understand how immunity and stuff like that works very well, anyways. So, but it sounds like that those things are all okay. But I'm concerned that some of these areas are hitting into okay. So that was a stop run of if I ever seen one. The buyers bought it right back up though when it hit. So you're getting into the guys from the overnight session are trying to play defense there, but I think that I think the sellers could continue to push down, like maybe even to 3,200. But that is one potential
Sunday
turning
Driver
point, right?
says it's important that the vaccine focus on T cells. There are different immunity layers. Some vaccines don't focus on the T cells. Those will have short-term immunity.
Gotcha. Yes. Oh, and that's why it was a big deal when we were learning about the Moderna vaccine, that they showed that it both produced antibodies and that it produced T cells. Just a little concerned because, like, I remember Florida was like the first ones to be open. You remember that? It was like Florida, and then Texas was a little bit behind, and so we're coming into Florida, and Florida is at capacity. That I think is a little concerning to me because most of these states are well behind that. Most of these states are well behind that, and so you'll see in the future.
Sunday Driver says Florida and Georgia.
Florida and Georgia. No, you're right. We haven't really seen a spike in Georgia, though, have we? But Georgia's a much smaller, less connected place. So I'm concerned that all of these other states are going to have similar explosions that are going to come close, but come close to the ICU capacity. And I think I don't think that here in Florida that we're going to see like some exponential increase, and it's going to be a real disaster.
Says in my county, everyone who dies from COVID, I think 26 now, has been over 70 and in long-term care.
Yeah, no, they're all old people. No, for
Sunday
sure.
Driver says it seems to take a while for Wu Flu to get running. Once it does, it is hard to contain.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that, for instance, in New York, there was contributing factors, right, because of the whole subway. So, Schlick was he was looking at what our expected move was. So we shall look. $31.90 and 44. Yep.
Sunday Driver says they are discovering that prolonged exposure is key. If you are constantly around someone blowing the virus in your face, the viral load is higher and more likely to be deadly. Sunday Driver says casual contact doesn't seem to be as bad.
So I'm a little, I don't know about this now, because even though I am seeing some selling and it looks pretty strong, and I think that if we start seeing some new lows that it could get bad. I also see that the buyers have some pretty significant advantages, and that it will be really hard to just like flush them out. Now, we've got 15 minutes to the consumer sentiment news. But you can see in the treasury is finally like coming out. So it's not doing what it did yesterday, where it just bounced, because there's potential reason for it to actually go the other way, right? And I'm curious, we got
Woozy
this
Knesset
big
says nah, it's
stack.
flippin' now.
You get this big stack. So it's possible that they're going to flip it back the other way. I mean, this is a place where they could flip it back the other way. That's why I took it. But we would really need some more bearishness to come into the E-mini. And I'm not sure if the E-mini is going to like really, really do anything super significant until, oh geez. So did it just move down? It looks like it. It looks like it did. And we don't really have anything super significant until the, I'm having my brain is just like, it's been a long week. No, we've got consumer sentiment at the top of the hour. So I don't know if the E-mini is really going to make a significant move here in the next 10 minutes. Okay. Well, man, the retail traders in particular really got pummeled on that one. Look at that. They went, the micros went a whole point more. Oh, they took it. Interesting. Okay. So that stop out looks like that it is causing a meaningful pullback. A lot of people upset about that one, huh? So they're trying to recover the thicker part of the profile again. You watch, they're going to do this like just slip out. Yeah. Ouch. Level break. Justin Amash is leaving Congress? What's... I guess Wilbur Ross is going to be on TV in about 30 minutes. Look at that. So that's a significant amount now at 13.
Uzi Knesset says largest swing down in a single hour in ZB all week is 21 ticks. We're at 17 this hour.
Yeah. Oh, it makes you wonder, right? Because the E-mini doesn't look that bullish at the moment. And we got news in 10 minutes. So are they front running consumer sentiment? Is consumer sentiment going to be really good or something? I don't know. Well, I'll tell you what, if it comes out and it's bad, you buy that motherfucker. But seems to suggest that they think that
Uzi Knesset
good.
says got me on that one lol.
Yeah, it is a little weird, right? Because, like, honestly, the E-mini is up, like, what? 2 points? Like, what the heck? Well, I guess one thing is that the treasuries had been elevated and quite long for quite some time. So it may just be that the seller is just given up after being long for several days and he wants out. Okay, so there's the seller's trying again. The squawk is talking about how Wilbur Ross has said dumb things in the past. Conway calls for Trump to resume giving regular coronavirus briefings. I don't think that one's going to happen. We still got 4 minutes. This has been like the longest 10 minutes ever, guys. German finance minister knew of Wirecard issues a year before collapse. Report reveals early involvement of German finance minister. Scholz's action is highly problematic, a Green lawmaker says. Oh, Wirecard. Well, they're setting themselves up for a mighty fine level break if they ever decide to do it at 12.5 and 12, but it's just kind of sitting there. And it doesn't look like the guys at 12.5 have any intention of pulling. They could, of course, buy right through them, but
Uzi
sell
Knesset
right
says
through 'em.
ZB cost basis for both buyers and sellers stuck in a sharp downturn.
Yeah. It's narrowing a little bit too, actually. So probably some people took positions off there, which would make complete sense. Zero Hedge tweets Bank of America says markets are up big because there was no Lehman. So the Federal Reserve bailed out all of the banks? I don't think that the pressures on the banks were nearly as excessive, though, right? I need to take the price markers off of these because it's like freaking can't see crap.
Gary Rich says all the banks are part of the too big to fail list. Every country has their list. Read about it, tards.
Man. Gary Rich woke up on the wrong side of the bed today. So now
Uzi Knesset says
George
Gary
is
must have got a
trickling
positive
into
COVID
some.
test.
He must have got a positive COVID test. That's funny. There's a few trickling into 12.5. Interestingly enough, the liquidity hasn't really pulled yet. Oh, I can see that they're hitting into it in the 5-year. But the 30-year has actually ticked back up a little bit. Okay, well, here comes our consumer sentiment numbers. We're looking for 79 on the headline number.
Gary Rich says no, Gary wants to stop the men menstruating in this room. If you like, I can send y'all douche, maxi pads and tampons.
Lower than forecast. Current conditions 84.2 versus 86. Expectations are really bad. 66.2 versus estimated 73.5.
Uzi Knesset says I dunno man, the guy lashing out for no reason may just be the one menstruating LMAO.
Let's see what happens here. It's curious that the treasuries were selling off so much and then the consumer sentiment ends up being pretty bad. Now, the E-mini hasn't just like straight up sold off of it, so we could just end up being like dead wrong here.
Gary Rich says lol.
Sunday Driver says that number always gets leaked.
Think so? I usually don't see huge moves off of consumer sentiment. I really can only think of one time where the consumer sentiment was like a huge deal, right? But look, the 13.5 is still holding a big offer
Uzi
for some
Knesset says
reason.
73.2.
Yeah, 73.2 versus an estimated 79 and a previous 78. So there's no question that the consumer sentiment numbers were worse than expected. If this goes the way that I think it might, I may just pull my orders and try and get them all out at the even. Okay, so there's the E-mini breaking a new low. The regular session. Okay. Okay. So you can see a couple of guys getting in line, but they're not really hitting across the aisle yet. As the E-mini takes another step down. Now, this whole bull move started around 3205, so only 5 pulls back to 500. That's not. Well, let's see if they ice on it. Okay. So 1119. Well, as they tick down, the big offer shows up again. And the 5-year went more than the other. And the E-mini is pulling back. And the dollar not really moving. At least not moving up. They're back below 96. Maybe not. I don't know. One thing I'm noticing, well, for starters, this week, it's been a pretty range-bound week, and I haven't been getting any of these calls right. But it's just really interesting how even a tiny move in the E-mini is sometimes causing the Treasury to push a ton. Of course, today it's the opposite of yesterday. This time they're going down. But I really can't read what I got in the ES as a positive right now. I don't think that you got a good spot to go short, but I just don't see. It looks like that the sellers are in complete control over in the E-mini. Should be careful about the big orders in the 10-year because it looks like a lot at 3,200 at 13.5, but it's like just back to normal liquidity, isn't it? Used to be that if there wasn't threes out there, I wouldn't even trade. Well, now that they're at 12.5, it's interesting that I mean, this could break, but 1625 so far. They seem to be adding more. The 5 years got a bunch on there. The E-minis looks headed back down. Well, 1175 at 3209 in the E-mini. A couple more sell orders in the 10-year. It breaks with 2000. It wasn't quite how I'd expect that to go, but it does look like it's could keep going. Here, that was a pretty decent slip in the E-mini. Not a new low yet, but Bloomberg just posted an article saying that bank CEOs warn of a tougher economic road after recent gains. Will we actually be able to read this? It's got the link here. The road to recovery for the U.S. economy will be uneven, unclear, and uncertain as the coronavirus retains its hold on business and Americans' everyday activities, according to the heads of the nation's largest banks. There's no question, as reopening has occurred, we've seen a pickup in that activity, David Solomon, Chief Executive Officer of Goldman Sachs Group Incorporated, said on the firm's July 15 earnings call. But with a recent uptick in COVID-19 cases in several states and this uncertainty persisting, I think you'll see a flattening in that economic pickup, and that will slow the progress we make. So this is just a story about what they said in their earnings calls, all old news. Yep. Uptick, huh? Not quite a bit of hit into 12.5 there. They don't look too concerned about their spot in the queue, but I don't think that they should be. I think that if I was looking to sell 12.5, I would be fairly confident that I'd get hit. Of course, we could totally tick down at 12 and leave all those guys hanging. Georgia governor calls for people to wear masks after Kemp bars local mandates. We're in the middle of a crisis. A crisis, folks. I don't know. So here's the thing, is that I was looking at it like we should be expecting this week and into the next week to start to see the number of overall cases decline. And I think in some places we're seeing some evidence or some numbers that would be in line with that, but not necessarily confirming it. But meanwhile, the overall cases in the whole country seems to be increasing. And so now I'm sitting here and I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, I think that this is going to be a little bit more difficult than we were predicting a week ago. So I kind of feel that the market should be
Sunday
giving up a
Driver
little
says
bit.
theory. A lot of traders have only a few years' experience and trade on their immediate whim. So, experienced traders should always have a double trade ready for the immediate and subsequent action.
Mm, well, the thing is that if you're expecting like some sort of a double head fake sort of a thing, then why wouldn't you just wait for the first one to do its thing first and then fade it the second time? You know what I mean? But the way that I've been playing this has been kind of backwards, right? I've been all week in the treasury against the momentum, which is kind of the way that it should be treated. But the one time where I really should have had it, I didn't take it. And this one, I don't know. I've heard a couple of news headlines that seem negative to me, and the E-mini seems to be going along with what I think, and I think that the E-mini probably could come down a little bit more. The treasuries aren't bidding back up. So even though I seem to think that I have some stuff in the E-mini that would give me a good chance, it's not playing out. It's like he knows what I'm trying to do and is just trying to screw me over. But certainly that's probably not the case. It's just, I think we're running into this issue again where the things that are driving the supply and demand in the treasury aren't really things that I'm aware of. I can see it come in, but I don't seem to, you know, so I would be predicting that, we should see some volume down here, but then we should be flipping back up, and it's not happening. Mm-mm. And now they do tick down. So the thing is that if I really
Sunday
just held
Driver
on
says,
to
is
it,
it possible
probably
that you need to
would.
consider global purchases becoming more shy of treasuries?
Well, but then how do you explain why the treasury pushed up so much yesterday? Do you see what I mean? That would be something that I would expect to be consistent between yesterday and today. Well, that was an okay uptick. There's got to be some sort of bond activity, sell side demand that I don't know about. Because why would the treasuries sell off so hard when the E-mini looks like they're about to turn down hard? Vaccine scientist predicts the US is weeks away from every American knowing a seriously ill coronavirus patient. Pulling at 12. Those asks. Those asks at 11.5 in particular pulled completely. Now they added a little bit at 12, but Hmm. I suppose that one thing that could do it would be European, because yesterday the euro was coming down a little bit, and today it's coming up a little bit. Could be the euro. Mm-mm. Well, they're eating into 12, but they're stacking more on it. I mean, if I had just taken it in the E-mini, I don't know if the E-mini is really giving great spots, though. Okay, 3,000 at 12. Okay. So they do clear him, but they push 1,000, push it back down. Latest from EU summit. Leaders are still in the room presenting their national positions on the 750 billion COVID fund. They had expected to break for lunch and start bilaterals, but they ended up having lunch in the room. According to one EU diplomat, leaders have been locked in intense discussions since 10:25 this morning. It's too soon to say what directions and negotiations they are taking. So far, the leaders haven't dived into the details. Ugh. Well, if I'm sure that the Europeans are apprehensive about that. So here another 5,000 at 12. So you see this guy, he's willing to sell a ton. Okay, so they cleared 12 and are able to hold a bid for a little bit longer. And the E-mini's heading lower. But again, earlier in the treasury, we were up at like 15, right? And the E-mini was higher. I don't understand. The correlation is not there between the E-mini and the 10-year. definitely not there. Like, look at this. This is a pretty good stop run lower. They are pushing now down below the levels that we were at before the big move up, and we're getting back into the overnight chop area. And we did come back and erase kind of that line in the sand that was there from that range. And it looks like we might even go all the way through it and come down to the 31.99 level. Ah, the treasury did tick up there finally. One tick. Hmm.
Kevin Wimmer says to quote the Axia guys on this. If both are moving in the same direction without fundamental reason, one of them is often gonna reverse. Just gonna find the right one. Gamble.
Right. I mean, well, and the thing is that I'm pretty confident that the E-mini is going to keep going down. At least 3,200 was at least one spot that I was looking for them to revisit. I think the next area that we've got to look at is 3198, 3194. There's actually a lot of curious levels around here. One of the things I find interesting in the 10-year also is that I'll look at it and I'll be like, well, something's happening. I would think that there'd be a lot of people looking to make trades here. And then you look at the volume and nobody's actually crossing. Like the market orders just aren't there.
Kevin Wimmer says they made a video about this just 2 days ago with an example about FDA x E-mini and Bund. That time equities reversed and bonds kept falling.
And equities are reversed higher. Well, but the thing is if it's between equities and treasuries, I say that sometimes there can be dynamics in the market where there could be something going on that is going to affect demand in treasuries and isn't really going to significantly impact the equities. That certainly can happen. And you can also get that reverse correlation, right? Where like the treasuries are falling down and interest rates are rising, and that causes the E-mini to sell off. That happens too, or vice versa, where they both buy. So I think that heuristic that you just called out there is a little too simple. But I would say that it is generally true.
Kevin Wimmer says yeah, but in this example both are dropping.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Well, and that's what the thing where it's weird is like, are the indexes dropping because the interest rate is rising? I don't think that's what it is. I think all the data is bad. Feds Kaplan says open to overshooting inflation target to provide more support. That should be something that help us move up.
Live Action says oil broke yes low. Kevin Wimmer says oh wait, wasn't there supposed to be an interview? Is it already going?
Now this was from a Wall Street Journal article. Okay. Well, I was trying to get another contract, which actually wouldn't have been appropriate. But wow, I shouldn't say it wouldn't have been appropriate, but it was a little sketch, right?
Kevin Wimmer says at live action yesterday's low already broken in overnight. Are you still in the old contract?
You notice if I had moved my order up to 12.5, I wouldn't have gotten filled. If I had moved my order up to 13, I wouldn't have gotten filled. And you're starting to see the book in the 10-year very
Sunday Driver says it's
flip
amazing that
very
people
hard.
don't believe the protests, riots, are not spreading the virus.
Right. Well, so here's how I heard it explained to me, Sunday Driver, is that even though a protest would spread the virus, a one-time event isn't going to be very significant compared to when a state opens and people, you're getting hundreds of interactions every day. So a state opening is much more likely to be significant than the protests. And I think that that's probably the case. In fact, I think that if there's going to be some spikes because of protests, I think that it's probably going to be a little bit longer till you really see it. Okay, so
Sunday Driver says the riots have been going on for more than a month. Most of them were extended for at least a couple weeks.
yeah, I mean, it's these rioters that are like out there every day, some of these people, then that would for sure. Yeah. I guess we shouldn't that's just the liberal argument. I'm not saying I
Live
agree with
action
it.
says I am on Sept contract.
But that's just their argument. I'm saying I'm agreeing with it. Because think about in New York, and they had that parade, and that parade
Sunday
made a
Driver
big
says everyone
difference,
hit the
right?
like button, no free riding.
Thanks. So is Kaplan giving us? No, I don't think he's giving a speech. We started to see a stall out around the middle of June, which is 100% what we're seeing in the markets too. Okay, so they went all the way in the mini. Remember when we were up at like 23.12 and I was like, well, I don't know if there's a good spot and I don't know if they can make it all the way down to the bottom of that. But they did. And the downside VIX target is 3190. Mnuchin says the notion that he's in civil war with Kudlow is absurd. Yeah, where is that? I haven't heard that.
Sunday Driver says I think most of the rioters, protesters in New York and Washington, D.C. were from other areas. So, it makes sense that those areas didn't have a spike in new cases.
Maybe. I don't know. I'm still kind of the opinion that it's probably going to be too difficult to really know. Was that a data aberration that I got there in the 10-year, or did they really spike all the way back up to 3210 for a moment? Nah, there's no way. That's got to be a bug. I mean, not a bug. That must have been a data error.
Kevin Wimmer says it was me. I got stopped out.
Oh, Kevin. Well,
Sunday Driver says do you have a broken scan line in your monitor?
no. Why would you say that? I mean, you can see it right there, can't you? Maybe you can't see it there because it's only 1 pixel. Definitely there. Oh, you know what? It might be because of this other chart that I have on here. Oh, it probably is. Because my other thing is gone. And where is... So if I refresh this chart, for it to do the tick replay on the 30-minute chart that I have on there would take a long time. But that's what's going on, is the data series is jacked up. That's the 30-minute bar there. That's the start of the next 30-minute bar. Oh, actually, it's not even that. It's the... I see what's going on. If I made this longer... now I can see it's the line from my indicator. Interesting. They don't have a very good like line type. I wonder if I can make my own type, because there's like hash, but the hash doesn't go across the whole bar if it's a box. It should fix that, because I don't like this when it comes down for the square. I would rather just go across this whole thing. Well, let's look. Where are those defined? Can we see that stuff? Ninja Trader 8 bin custom. Well, there's bar types. And that's like, whether it's a month, tick, etc. And then there's chart styles. What about, no, they're drawing tools. What is it called? Plot style is what we want. Hmm. Oh, it came all the way back there? Well, that might be just a hiccup.
Live Action says that Gary Rich didn't want to appear rude the other day in not responding feed cut off.
Oh. Okay, well, the E-mini is recovering quite a bit of that. Hey, you're going to see some technical traders taking it there. Then later we'll come back down. Well, I don't like that they're hitting 13. Plot style object used to construct the style of the plot. Florida cases rise 3.6 versus a 7-day average of 4.5. So that is actually good, especially for a Friday. 11,000 versus 13,000 yesterday. Help me. Yay. Do that.
Live Action says in answering you question about COVID cases in FL report came out the number of cases are fake comparing mortality percent tells a story.
Yeah, I was seeing that. So my thinking on that subject is that overall you are definitely going to see errors, but that the number of hospitalizations and the number of deaths should have a consistent ratio. And it seems to me that for the most part that's coming out. So I think that probably I don't know what is the cause of, some of those Florida places giving 100%. I don't think that it's like a conspiracy theory. I'm sure there's a good reason, but I would say that there's good reason to question some of those numbers. But that overall, I don't think that it's a significant enough thing to really have to factor into our own analysis. Talking about stimulus on CNBC.
PRTRADERSOS says are you using multi-monitors or one large one?
I use multiple monitors. So there are some large monitors coming out that would be suitable, but I really don't think that you're getting your value for your money with those. You can get triple monitors for like under $100 if you go buy them secondhand, like 27-inch monitors.
Ateo Close says your jigsaw doesn't clear the inside print?
I think that what you might be seeing at Techoclos, I don't know how you say that. How did she say it?
Ateo Close says your jigsaw doesn't clear the inside print?
Techoclos, I think what you might be seeing is that over in the E-mini, I have the reset interval really high. Like it has to be away from it for like 10 seconds for it to reset over in this one. Oh, this is a really good chart right here. Let me show you this. So they're showing the Michigan consumer sentiment inflation expectations.
Sunday Driver says I just bought a 35-inch curved monitor that arrives today. Got at steal price on Amazon.
Nice.
I think they glitched the price. Only cost $370. It's now selling for $570.
Well, if it's like a 1080 resolution and I guess it depends very heavily on what the resolution is for that. But that would not be unreasonable. Anyways, look at that uptick in inflation expectations. Of course, that happened in 2011 as well, but that's a significant change in a regime that I've never seen it, where the people's expectations of inflation are rising.
Sunday Driver
that
says it's
could
nearly
be
4K resolution.
that could be why the
PRTRADERSOS says panel width needs to be reduced on indicator. O'Shea Branding says hi, I'm relatively new. What news sources do you use to monitor daily news?
good question. So I have on Twitter a list of squawks. I should make a video about this one too. But there's a bunch of people on Twitter that I watch, and then I use TweetDeck with my different. I'll show you. Got TweetDeck, so here's my squawks and everybody, and then there's some individual traders that I follow that I like to watch. This is where I look for like Patrick Rooney and Future Trader 71 to say stuff. And then you use TweetDeck so that you get like everything update really fast. So that's cool. And then I also just recently became a founder for Financial Juice Pro. So I don't know if I should really have done that. I don't know, man. So like I've been sitting and I'm I want a better news squawk. And what they're giving me at Financial Juice Pro is pretty good. Sometimes there are things I see on Twitter before Financial Juice Pro and that I don't like that. But a lot of the time I see it on Financial Juice Pro long before I see it anywhere else. And that's really good. And the things that they're going to be adding and everything else like that looks really promising. And if enough people join up with it, I think that there's a really promising future. Hold on. What was that one? I just heard a coronavirus number, but I didn't hear which state it was or the specifics. Florida coronavirus deaths rise by 130 people on Friday to 4,912. 4,912. Anyways, so I'm really excited about Financial Juice Pro. Now, since I became a founder and everything, they said that they'll be creating my account, but I haven't seen anything back from them yet. So I don't know if it's like even like the Pro is even available. I think that there's something else coming. But anyways, so I'm using them for News Squawk now. And the cool thing is that if you sign up now for $700, you get it for life, which is a pretty big deal, right? Pretty big deal. So I saw that one and I had money that I was saving up to move over to a different broker, and I just went for it. And now I'm looking back at it though, and I'm like, yeah, but I wanted to move over to a different broker in September, and now I don't, $700 of it gone. So I'm not going to be able to save enough before then to do that. Unless you guys all start watching the videos a ton more. So go watch all of my videos. Make sure you give them a like and a comment. And make sure you give this video a like. Use that to move over to Edge Clear. Anyways.
Sunday Driver says if it's good, $700 would be a great price for life.
Oh, it is a great price for life. Now, the thing is that they're looking to really shake up the industry. So after that is gone, the price that they expect to be offering it at is going to be like $70 or something like that. So, but to do it for life, oh yeah, that's some real value. And I'm finding it valuable. I'm not getting the treasury specific data that I got from
O'Shea
Ransquawk.
Branding says thanks. Are you following individuals or institutions?
Yeah. So on Twitter, Most of the people that I'm following, like the squawks, are squawks. So like Financial Juice and Rand Squawk, Live Squawk, all of these guys have Twitter accounts that post stuff. They you don't hear it as quickly as if you're listening to their feed. And then most of the people that I'm looking at are just well-known retail traders. When I'm looking for information from institutions, I really like Zero Hedge in that respect. Well, they post a lot of articles that are
Uzi
like,
Knesset
here's
says
what
buyers
Goldman
definitely
Sachs said.
fighting at the seller's cost basis.
Yeah. Well, I'm noticing, I don't know. Oh, I need to go and get a drink and take a break here in a second. But even though this is not the best spot, but I am noticing in this case, I don't see like aggressive fighting, but I do see that it's fairly balanced here, which is fine. I'm kind of thinking I could probably buy a bunch of times at 15. And
PRTRADERSOS says I am looking to buy 4K TV 48-inch.
Ooh, yeah. Oh, well, I really want one of them new high refresh rate televisions, man. And then that PlayStation, I'm hoping, here's my dream. PlayStation, what is it, 5? PlayStation 5 comes out, and fighting games decide, you know what? We're not going to do 60 frames per second anymore.
says in a new Ryzen new build.
What if the next Tekken was 120 frames per second or 144 frames per second? Huh? That would be so cool. I'd be down with that. Okay. We'll keep an eye at 15. I think there's a chance that they flip back around ahead, but we want to be careful. That's why I already took a little bit off. I think overall this trade sucked. But
Uzi Knesset says we in the fight zone BRUDDH tongue out.
Ace Trades says PlayStation is a way for the reptilian overlords to track us.
Oh, okay.
Sunday Driver says you need to come out with a speculator Seth hat.
Oh, you know what? They can do it though. Like, let's see here. I haven't gone and checked on that. Let's go and check on that. What is it? What is it's stream elements, right? Yeah. Because they're supposedly they're going to add more stuff.
Ace Trades says at Sunday Driver, are you making fun of his hairline?
Uzi Knesset says I bought a CMI hat just for the hell of it like 6 years ago. Wore that bastard out lol.
Sunday Driver says what will be the best gaming station to buy in the next several months.
I really have no clue. I'm assuming that it's going to be the PlayStation again, but in the next
Sunday Driver
months.
says at ACE Trades lol. No, I'm bald too.
Oh, I didn't notice that Ace was here. Oh, I need to. Well, first of all, let's see. How long have we had this on here? Okay, yeah. We had a
Ace
good number
Trades
of
says
videos.
yup. Close my room Ely so I could say hi.
I really should push it more often. We get this
Ace
trader's
Trades
going to trade mug. So if you go into the video description below and there's a store link and you can get the mug.
says TweetDeck Stock Labs and JS News.
I could make a speculator Seth hat. But so if we go into merch, do they have new items at all? Let's see.
Sunday Driver says I want to buy the best gaming station, but don't know much about it. Research seems to always be heavily biased. Everyone's got motivated reasoning and likes their pet gaming system.
I could make hats. It wouldn't be the greatest. Yeah, ask my wife about that. Because we have one of those Crycut cutters.
Ace Trades says Sue.
Maybe we could use the Crycut to create a stencil and then we could print the hats ourselves or something. I'll look into it because I like the idea of a hat. I don't know if I look super great in hats though, dude. I'm not going to do the Tim Pool thing
Ace Trade
with the
says at
beanie
Sunday
all the
Driver you
time.
really can't go wrong with any of the ones out there.
Tim, you know what? I was arguing. It wasn't really with Tim, but yesterday there was this whole thing about, oh, why does the media focus on new cases so that they can scare everybody about new cases? Why aren't they covering deaths anymore? Well, because new cases is a leading indicator. And if you want to be the first to know what's going on, you want to use new cases. You can extrapolate hospitalizations and deaths from new cases. So Tim Pool was talking about this. And not only was Tim Pool talking about it, but Scott Adams was talking about it. I made a TikTok about it yesterday even. But I like Tim. But you know what, Tim? The beanie thing is I just don't. I guess it's his brand now, but just go bald, man. It's really not that bad. It's really quite nice. The ladies love it. Dum, dum, dum.
Uzi Knesset says Tim needs to take that beanie off on his stream one day. Easy 100k views lol.
Right?
Sunday Driver says at ACE Trades are there new ones coming out. Sunday Driver says Tim is getting too old to keep the beanie. A younger person can get away with it. It's wearing thin.
Ace Trade says at Sunday Driver I am sure there are, someday. But you don't put off buying a light bulb because there might be one made better down the road.
I think that for the what are we saying? For he's in political analysis and commentary, and I think that wearing a beanie kind of limits your upside for your brand. So if I was Tim, I would get rid of the beanie, but I'm way too serious anyways, right? So yeah, you can get a mug, a t-shirt, mouse pad.
Sunday Driver says at ACE Trades I think there is a new system coming out. No. I don't want to buy one and then the new one come out straight away.
No, there's a new system coming out. So next Christmas. So not Christmas 2021, but Christmas 2021,
Ace Trade
not
says at
Christmas
Sunday
2020.
Driver stop it. Just get one and enjoy it.
Not Christmas 2020, but Christmas 2021, there will be a PlayStation 5 and an Xbox whatever. So, if you want to get something to play in the next year, then I would get a PlayStation 4. But it kind of depends on what you want to play. It really heavily depends on what you want to play. So the market's doing pretty okay here as Minution talks up the market. I think that I'm looking back on it now. I'm thinking that the sell must have been because the
Sunday Driver
consumer
says I think I
sentiment
want
numbers
to
had
play
that
war games.
rising. You want to play war games? Like turn-based games?
Ace Trades says in the next Christmas there will be a better one. You don't not buy a
No.
car that you need because there might be a better one.
No, that's not true, Ace. They'll get one in 2021, and then you probably won't see another one until like 2026 or 27. Those consoles have a life of like 5 years.
Sunday Driver says no. They come out with them over years and years.
Yeah. If I was going to get one right now, I would get the Switch. The Switch is great fun. But then war games. I mean, what do you mean by war games? You want first-person shooters? You want shooters? I don't know. Consoles there aren't so great, but
Ace Trades says at Sunday Driver do you want to play a game? PRTRADERSOS says 60 MHS.
Yeah, so like the PlayStation has a better array of games right now. The Xbox will have Halo though, so that's going to be the draw to the Xbox. But the PlayStation, they've got all of the Japanese games and the fighting games, and they do have a couple of exclusive shooters. I'll be right back. I need some more water.
PRTRADERSOS says Haven at 3,210. Ace Trades says long from 3,203.50.
Sunday Driver says I think I'd like to play coordinated live action shooter games.
Ace Trades says it's Sunday driver then go to Syria, and you can play that all you want. All day, every day. PRTRADERSOS says nice ace I chickened out of the 3196.30 trend bounce.
Well, the E-mini is looking pretty good so far. Back up to 10. Actually, getting to a place where I could think about shorting it, in fact. So I think that Mnuchin is going to keep talking here. As long as he's talking, it's going to be difficult to, get much out of it. I wouldn't want to be short the E-mini while he's talking, but
PRTRADERSOS says Tim has hot head.
Tim has a hot head. Coordinated live action shooter games. Yeah. Well, I don't know what the shooter games that are available on the PlayStation are, to be honest with you. You
Ace
want to play
Trades
shooter
says
games,
at
you want to play on the
PR Trader
computer.
SOS, but how has the trading been so far?
You could have taken it long and you didn't take it? Well, I think I called the levels pretty well. But this right here is going to be a resistance area.
PRTRADERSOS says the more cases the better, it lowers the doctor.
Sunday driver says Tim is bald. Someone pulled his hat off and they got a picture. He should just go bald and stop with the beanie.
Yeah, totally.
Ace Trades says it was a FOMO trade at 3,203.50.
Oh, you're long? Well, if they really, really want to push this, I wouldn't put 32.15
Ace Trades
out of
says
the
yep.
question, but there should be some resistance here. In fact, you can kind of see it a little bit, right? In the tape. They're fighting it here. $32.03 was not too bad of a FOMO, if we're honest. I can understand why you would have done that one, though. I'd be a little bit weary about this right here, though, because the book is flipping around. The E-mini is probably going to try moving down a little bit. I shouldn't say that. Because I don't want to lead you guys to the impression that some sort of a technical indicator has a good probability of predicting the future. So what I should just say is that I'm seeing some indications that people are taking trades and expecting a downside move, and you can see their orders stacking on the bid down below us. The state of Texas today had to remove 3,484 cases from its positive case count because the San Antonio Health Department was reporting probable cases for people never actually tested as confirmed positive cases. Okay, so people were saying this, and now they were forced to take them out. That's interesting. And a bunch of people tweeting about this. Fed says thousands of nonprofits covering around 10% of the U.S. workforce could be eligible for new Main Street loans. Yeah, I wonder what's the best way to print on a hat. How to make custom hats with a hat press. Hat press tutorial for beginners. It is possible to put heat transfer vinyl on hats with a regular heat press. Freaking Pinterest. Hey, they want you to.
Sunday driver says gold is zooming.
Okay, it's a good point. Good catch. I wouldn't call it zooming, but it's a really steady uptrend. Hmm. How much is this hat press device? Looks expensive. Transfora hat press. Oh, that's not bad. $200. Hmm. Well, I'll ask the wife about it. If she's interested in making hats. Because we got the little press. Okay, Cat Turd tweets. It's 100 degrees in Florida and I simply can't breathe in a mask. So since I like breathing and everything, I can't wear one. It's not. Okay. Yeah, Mnuchin is definitely out there to talk up the market. They must be expecting bad numbers. Hmm. I think that today the reason the treasuries could have been selling is because of the tick up in inflation in the consumer expectations, but I'm still a little unsure about why they were buying so strongly yesterday. Today looks way more bearish than yesterday. Hmm. Hmm. Are we past new requests? We are. I'm sorry, guys. It's like, oh, it's so quiet now. It's a nice little break. Just got a beep monitor was deleted. Oh, yes. This is the problem with the CDC in charge of the data? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, so there's this whole thing about that. Oh, hold on. I'm hearing something about Korea. Don't think it's significant. Yeah. Anyways, there's this whole thing about that the data is supposed to go to the White House now instead of the CDC, and I'm like, so has anything actually changed though, or are we all getting the same data, right? Because I still see the new cases stuff come out every day. Cook political report shifts 20 House districts towards Democrats. Ugh. Ooh, AC turned on and I get fresh, clean air. I'm liking it. What's Discovery Trading Group tweeting here? The indices are a big nothing trade. Learn to listen to that inner voice telling you today isn't a good trading day. If you feel like you are working hard to find the price momentum, then shut it down. Today is a rare day where I did not listen to that inner voice. I don't know. There's been some good moves today. If you just weren't on the right sign. Official PlayStation account released a trailer for a new FMV game before quickly. What does FMV mean? Well, that's a pretty big offer, 14.5. Oh, jeez. Oh my gosh. It's a game where you are the moderator for a stream girl. That's ridiculous, dude. Freaking hilarious. Oh my gosh, this is so bad. I'm not. I wish I don't think I should show you guys videos, but I'll give you guys the Twitter link. This is hilarious, man. Is it simp? They should call it Simp Simulator. Oh, this is so good. It's called the Gamer Girl. They should call it Simp Simulator. Oh my gosh. Okay, here you go. Do you want the link? You probably don't care. I bet you guys don't care, but there's the link to the video preview of Simp Simulator. Looks like Sunday went to open his eye. That's what I would do, man. Come on. I tell you what, when I got the triple monitor set up for my monitors, I was so excited to put it up. And then was like fiddling around with the screws, and one of the screws fell through the monitor. Like that particular monitor is cheap, and the VESA mounts weren't very good, so I had to take the entire monitor apart to get it set back up again, and I was so frustrated. And my wife, she didn't care. She did not care. She's like, "We gotta go somewhere," and I'm like, "No, and I didn't throw it or anything like that. I was just kind of messing around, but she thought I was serious and was like, super. Anyways, yeah. So if I totally understand that he would want to go and set up his monitor, that's what I would do. I would be like, screw today's stream, we're setting up our monitor. Okay, I see that the momentum has possibly shifted in favor of the Bears again on the E-mini now. According to Guinness, the oldest hamster to ever live was 4.5 years old. What is the oldest rabbit to ever live? I guess I shouldn't be too, you know. The rabbit has a nice place outside now. It's shady. She seems happy about it. The oldest rabbit was 18 years old. That's not what I wanted to hear. How did they tick it down at 14? Oh, they hit him 5,000 at 14. Ooh, and they hit twice to push it back up. Let's see if there's more. Sometimes I see something like that and I think it's a really big deal and then nothing comes out of it. But that is potentially significant what we just saw there. They actually, even though 7,000 traded on there, they actually pulled a ton at that. But that could just be the buyers and sellers coming to some sort of an agreement there at that price, you know? I literally can't stop yawning. Slow market plus late night. I don't know. In the 10-year, it looks really balanced to me. It was like 7,000 traded through. They bid up. Nobody's hitting into 14.5, but I'm wondering if they're going to trade back and forth across 14 a ton. Now they could still try and make a push up and go for 17, but I think that we would need to see a another decline in the E-mini for that to happen. And at the moment, the E-mini is starting to look like it's consolidating. Like I can see the line between the buyers and the sellers, and it looks stuck. Now, when we look at where our targets are, let's see here. The downside was 3190 we didn't get. The upside was 3243. Well, there's no way we're getting to 3243. The open was 3216. I don't know if we have any chance of actually hitting any of our volatility targets today. If we do, it's much more likely to hit the downside one. But then if we were to close the week below 3,200, where was the weekly start at? Oh, it must be way down there. I thought maybe we were further away than we actually were. Arizona coronavirus cases. Slight rise over yesterday. $3,910 versus $3,259 yesterday. Okay, yeah. So that's kind of what I was saying is, look, they're going to trade back and forth across 14 a ton. So I think that our little experiment here this week in the 10-year has shown us some useful information about where the break-even points are. What we need to do now is we need to do a little bit of work about analyzing the risk. Um, I'm thinking if I can calculate how much risk and profit they're taking on, that might give me some additional metrics that might be able to give us a better entry point. If we were to try and, well, either it could be an entry point or an exit point, really. But the amount of risk that we took on that trade was way too much, right? Mm. So Dr. Fauci is saying one promising vaccine will go into phase 3 at the end of the month, but I don't know if that is really all that significant because it still looks like Moderna is in the lead, right? Oh, wow. So today in Arizona, there was 91 deaths versus 58. Arizona numbers don't sound very good, but it's coming out here and the market's not like just careening down. Chronic cases higher on the day. ICU utilization 90% versus 89% yesterday. Dr. Fauci is on the newswire. Total number of confirmed cases edges closer to 14 million on Friday. So let's say that we only see half of the confirmed cases. So let's say that there's 30,000 and there's 250,000 people. So that means that we're still only like maybe 10% of the population that has caught it. Right? Well, 14 went bid again. Buyer is willing to put liquidity up there. We have to look here at, this is where coming back and looking at our profile here can be useful because I want to see there has been 15,000 is sold into 14 and 14,000 is bought into 14. Now in the E-mini, we've seen at around 32.11, 11,000 traded in there. So, and there was like 17,000 at 32.12 on the open. So that again, if the E-mini is going into range bound mode, I think that we're likely to take a step down and go back to like 06. Like we could come back here to 06 and then try and make it back up. That or it just falls apart again. Now I wonder if the treasuries, if that's what they're expecting to have happen, because it does look like that the buyer is absorbing a lot of contracts at 14. And I don't think that that is just somebody that's short taking it off, you know? Oxford's coronavirus vaccine is reported to have shown promising results after the team discovered the jab could. Maybe Donald Trump tweeted that earlier. Maybe that's what Fauci is talking about. What is there? Where are they at? Are they in phase 2? We should be able. They should be able to predict which one it is. Why would he not just say which one it is? Mnuchin says the issue of people getting paid to not work needs fix. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Burger King shut down a number of its branches in eastern China after a report by state-owned CCTV alleged the restaurant chain served expired food to customers. I hear the baby. Somebody's wide awake and happy. He sounds happy, at least. I bet mom's not happy. Ooh, we should go check. We got this dresser and we're gonna restain it, and I'm excited to see how this all turns out. It is still in the package room. Why aren't you setting it up, bro? I did remember earlier I was saying that the sellers did start to have it go their way a little bit, but now it's back into the spread. It's pretty tight spread too. Oh, it's 9:30. Well, you know what? Oh, we didn't take any trades in the E-mini. We're still doing this experiment in the treasury. I think the next week we will continue this because I'm on call, and then that can be stressful. So I don't want to add more stress by going into the Sirius account. And I think there's still one I want to learn, and there's a lot I got to program here. So yeah, hopefully I get some time this weekend to do it. Maybe on Sunday. Probably tomorrow we're going to spend a lot of time on the chicken coop. But yeah, it does look pretty quiet here, and fairly balanced. I do think that there's room for another little move lower to 3206, but there could still be news. Mnuchin could say something stupid. Fauci could say something stupid. You never know. But I think it's time for me to go. So thank you guys. If you're still there, make sure you hit that like button for us. That always helps the channel out. Oh, now they're hitting into 13.5. But anyways, it is time for me to go. So I will see you guys on Monday. And in the meantime, stay profitable, friends.